Hello dear traders! Last week, the US dollar index kept growing. As before, its rise was mainly due to the single European currency weakness. I recall that its share in the index is maximum, 57.6%. Tuesday brought the relatively weak data on US retail sales for April, though they rose for the third time in a row, but for less than expected. Nevertheless, the US dollar is still noticeably strengthened. In fact, it showed maximum growth this week. The fact is that at the same time there was the information published from the Eurozone, which was taken by the market even more negatively. The German Economic Activity Index for May from the German Center for European Economic Research (ZEW) fell for the fifth consecutive month to a minimum of 1.5 years. Because of this, the euro has fallen down to the minimum of 5 weeks vs the US dollar, vs the British pound 16 weeks, and vs the Australian dollar 6 months. An additional factor weakening the single European currency was the statement of the Bundesbank readiness to support the ECB decision to start lowering the rates and monetary emission probably at the next meeting on June 5th. Among the events of the last week, we want to point out another bunch of the negative US statistics which appeared last Thursday and was weaker than the preliminary forecasts. The US inflation rose in April more than expected and amounted to 0.3%. This is the maximum increase within 10 months. At the same time, there was a decline in the industrial production by 0.6%, maximum of 6 months. The US dollar index was traded with strong vibrations last week, but closed positively. The European data were even worse. The Eurozone GDP growth in the first quarter was lower than expected. Decline in industrial production for March exceeded the forecasts. The US macroeconomic information will flow out this week since Wednesday, when the results of the April Fed meeting shows up. On the same day, we will watch 3 performances by the Fed representatives, including its leader, Janet Yellen. On Thursday, there are the data on the labor market for the week expected to come out, as well as the information about the US real estate sales on the secondary market and the leading indicator for April. On Friday, we will see the figures on sales of buildings. In our opinion, the real estate market data are expected to be positive and other information is to be neutral. The EZ Consumer Confidence Index for May is expected to come out in Eurozone on Wednesday. The forecast is neutral. On Thursday, we will see manufacturing index for May that is expected to turn out negative. On Friday, we will see the whole bunch of German macroeconomic indicators. The preliminary forecasts, in our opinion, are neutral. This may be perceived negatively by the market for the euro, as it was previously assumed that Germany would become the locomotive of European economic growth. As for the British pound, we would note the UK inflation data coming out on Tuesday, the Bank of England report on Wednesday, and the GDP data for the first quarter on Thursday. Those who trade the Japanese yen should pay attention to the statement of the BOJ head on Wednesday. As for the Canadian dollar, theoretically it could be affected by the following data: Thursday, retail sales for March, and Friday, inflation in Canada for April. You are watching Weekly Market Overview by IFC Market. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us every Tuesday. Goodbye!